Wild Mustangs to your prized pony. They pride themselves on developing mettle without metal.
Good.
They have huge hearts, and they see the bigger picture, I think.
Our main goal here is to give Mustangs and horses and owners a good start and give them hope.
The HorseTenders, how these Greenfield brothers work equine miracles with their gentle approach.
They have been through so much trauma, and you have to put them back together, piece by piece. You have to provide them with a stable family again, and they come around.
Plus, Fritz Weatherby's New Hampshire.
It was an original musical, and Binky Sears played the part of Governor Meldrum Thompson. I'll tell you the story on New Hampshire Chronicle.
That's next on Chronicle.
A splash profiled in a film that's getting great buzz on the festival rounds. It's called Wild Horse, Wild Ride.
Now, the captivating film looks at the magical bond between wild Mustangs and the very special people who train them.
It's a talent that's on display most every day at HorseTenders. That's the family business that Nick and Chris Cokel's parents started when they were just boys.
Now, saddle up alongside Jennifer Crompton as we hit the trail to spend some time with the Granite State's very own Horse Whisperers.
Far from the wide-open West, where they've run wild for generations, Mustangs romp with a mixed herd of domestic horses and burros, seeming very at home on the Cokel Farm in Greenfield, New Hampshire.
It's really wonderful to watch because we've tried to be as natural as possible, and mimic what they would get in the wild.
Hundreds of acres of pasture and conservation land surround the Cokel's home, the family in the middle of the herd in every way.
They see everything, they watch us, and we watch them just as much as we watch them.
Guests are quickly introduced, usually starting with a bossy little Mustang from South Dakota named Ishta.
Hi, Ishta. Say hi. Ishta's young. She's only 3.5, maybe 4.
And she's one of your favorites?
She's my favorite.
While the size of the herd fluctuates, everyone has a distinct role and personality. Some Mustangs are visiting for a while to gain confidence and learn to behave from the others before going back to owners or new adopted homes. But several are here for the long run. Among them, Remington, the majestic leader of the herd, who exudes a gentleness with people that's especially amazing considering his past.
Somewhere along the way, somebody trained him with a piano wire in his tongue to keep him from bucking, and it cut his tongue in half.
And there's Paiute, once so afraid and aggressive, he sent people and horses to the hospital.
We got him from a rescue in New Jersey, and he came with a check to put him down if we couldn't train him and fix him. She said, his journey has to end with you guys. You are the 6th rescue. And if you can't fix him, you have to put him down because he doesn't need to be tortured anymore.
At the heart of so much healing is the Cokel family itself. There's Mom Stephanie, Dad Andre and oldest son Eric weren't there this afternoon. And there's Nick and Chris, who were barely teens when they started a horse tending business and put all this in motion. Their self-taught natural training methods have expanded from domestic horses to the plight of the Mustang. And on this day, Paiute and Remington will help them at a training session.
You all set to go start walking down?
Yeah.
A HorseTenders client has brought her new 7-year-old Mustang whose former owner found him too difficult to keep.
This round pin is what we like to call where the magic starts.
Cindy and her horse Jack arrived unsure of each other. She's been coming to give them both a chance.
Our main goal here is to give Mustangs and horses and owners a good start and give them hope.
With Chris's help, she patiently reads the horses' cues, building a partnership, earning each other's trust over time. They call it building mettle without metal. She hopes to ride him one day.
Our difference is that we focus our methodologies on is the foundation of the horse, from working from the ground up without using any metal, without using any bits, spurs, crops, or whips.
So I've gotten over a lot of my fear, and I think with that relaxed face, I think he's gotten over some of his fear also.
Remington arrives in the round pen to get Jack used to diversions and as a role model to help build his confidence. And he's learning from watching Paiute, too, as Nick trains with him nearby.
If you push too hard, too much with him, especially with an aggressive background and stuff, he's not going to hesitate to toss you or whatnot. So it's just brief intervals of good, applying the leg and then adjusting with however I need with the reins, and he's actually picking this up pretty quickly. Good boy.
Unlike domestic horses, Mustang's human contact is stressed from the start. Rounded up to thin the herd, torn from family, gelded, branded, and adopted to people who often expect too much, too fast.
You could have the best of intentions, but if you go around it the wrong way, they're so hardwired for a certain mentality that they can turn to aggression for self-preservation fairly quickly. They
teach us all the time. And then we look in it, you know, we're all sitting around the kitchen table. We're like, well, what would the horses do right now? I'm like, well, I know what Ishta would do.
Horses are driven by instinct and natural curiosity, learning from the living things around them. It's true for the entire herd, humans and all, especially the Cokel kids.
They have huge hearts, and they see the bigger picture, I think. They see more than just what they need at this moment. They see the world around them, and they want to be part of it.
Coming up, from national contests to veterinary school, the Cokel boys and their wild ride.
I think the reason why I've been brought on this earth is because to save as many horses as I possibly can.
Next, an extreme Mustang makeover.
Fitting every Toyota.
By the time Chris and Nick Cokel were teenagers, they were already training horses. Indeed, they joined the Extreme Mustang Makeover Challenge to test their natural methods.
We started working with Mustangs and really got to learn their plight and the background that they're coming from, and seeing how in 100 days you can take such a young Mustang that's been through so much, being rounded up away from its herd, branded, gelded. Like, its only experiences with human beings are fairly negative. So you get them home off the trailer and you try and stand in the round pen with some of these guys, and it wasn't going to happen. They'd charge you and send you right out. So being able to build a rapport and completely change its mindset from not wanting to be touched to absolutely loving you in 100 days, doing everything that you ask it to do.
Twice they each did the 100-day challenge. The second time caught on film for a documentary, Wild Horse, Wild Ride. It's in their own home video, though, that the results of their patient kindness stand out. Taken at the Extreme Mustang Makeover Finals, where Chris skied behind his charge, a wild Mustang that grew to trust him so he was willing to gallop blindfolded in front of a cheering crowd. Their methods worked, methods gleaned from a natural love of horses, and parents who gave their own colts the freedom to follow it.
Every summer I'll sleep with my hammock, and I'll take pictures, and my camera will be filming 24/7 and just filming horses.
I just opened the door and said, I don't know anything about horses, go find out. And they would sit and do their lessons. They would take their math book or their reading, and they'd go sit in the field and they'd watch them.
Learning and understanding from observation and doing was their own human herd foundation. Indeed, the boys actually built their home in Greenfield as they had their first barn in Francistown.
The whole family, we built this house by ourselves. It was a lot of fun, a lot of experience. We were homeschooled while doing it, and so Dad taught us about geometry and algebra and science, just building the house and putting it into use.
And having a pilot for a dad meant the freedom to fly to the mecca of whatever subject could help them with understanding horse behavior.
So we went over to Scotland to learn from some of the best in barefoot trimming, Missouri, all down south in Texas. So we've got a great background to not just learn one approach, but learn, from all the top brains, kind of just pick every bit and just keep the best parts of everybody's kind of empire that they built up and just make our own and did what made sense to us.
Since high school, they've run a full-blown business.
I went to Keene State for my undergraduate degree, graduated there, and because we were able to work and do all this business, I was able to graduate without any student debt, which is huge. And that helped me build a background with horses and everything, just a real hands-on, so that when I applied to vet school, I was luckily able to get in my first year, and now I'm over in Scotland at the University of Glasgow studying.
He plans to eventually set up practice here, and Chris is now certified in horse dentistry. They'll continue their domestic horse business, but the plight of the unwanted Mustang with its 30% adoption success rate has forever changed Cokel Farm.
I think the reason why I've been brought on this earth is because to save as many horses as I possibly can.
They've added a nonprofit so they can continue to take in and help Mustangs and owners, and welcome families that have been affected by trauma, like those of returning veterans, to absorb and observe the power of Mustangs assimilating into a loving herd.
So it's really magical being able to fill this social need by not only fill the social need twofold by taking these Mustangs in, having them trained, but also benefiting these families in needs and these military families.
The herd is a family. We have to understand that. So when you get these Mustangs from these adoptions and Mustangs that have been adopted out and returned or things didn't work out, you have to approach them from that perspective, that they have been through so much trauma. And you have to put them back together, piece by piece. You have to provide them with a stable family again. And they come around. Every single one of them, no matter what the damage has been, they come back around.